Okay, so with all the properties that you have learned from the previous video, let us look at these good examples. Okay, alright, so we have this question here. We need to find the value of these angles A, B and C. That's the question. Okay, let me just type the question quickly. So the question is it's find the values, okay, the values of the angles of these angles, okay, these angles of the angles we have A, that's B and C. Okay, so we need to calculate for these angles. All right, so let's name this to be, this is example 1. Okay, so let's say this is our example 1. Okay, let's say this is example 1. Okay, it's example 1, right? Okay, so we're going to find the values of angle A, B, C. We just need to apply the properties that we have discussed in the previous video. Okay, so there to calculate for A, we know that A here, this is these two angles are lying on a straight line, and we know that the total angle of a straight line here, that is this angle here, is 180. So it's like for A, you know that if you add angle A plus angle 125, which you have, okay, what you're supposed to get, the total should give you 180. So this is a fact that you know. Okay, that is angle A. Okay, so this angle should be in degrees. We know that this is representing an angle which should be in degrees. So there we have 180 degrees. Okay, subtracting 125 from 180, subtracting 125 from 180. Let me just do this. Okay, just a moment. Okay, we are using the right thing. Okay, let's calculate now. There, that's 180 minus 125. We are getting 55 there. So the size of this angle, A should be 55 degrees. Okay, so we have this angle 55 degrees. Okay, right, now let's calculate for B. We use the same reasoning. We know if we add B plus 70, okay, plus 70, this should give us 125. Okay, 125 degrees. Okay, so B will be equal to 120. Sorry, that was a mistake here. It should not give us 125 but 180. Alright, okay, sorry for that. It should be 180. So there we have B is equal to 180. Okay, 180. Now this 180 we have to subtract 70. Okay, and what are we going to get? That's 110, isn't it? Degrees. Okay, so we found this angle to be 110 degrees. Now let's solve for C. So for C, from when we were proving that the interior angles of a triangle, the summation of interior angles of a triangle is equal to 180, we also established the fact that if we have one angle which is missing, which is an interior angle of a triangle, to calculate for that, for the size of that angle, we will need to add. Okay, so we have C, which is an unknown angle there, plus 70, one of the interior angles. Okay, then plus 55. So from the proof, we saw that this should, the summation of these angles should give us 180. Okay, so the summation of the sizes of these interior angles should give us 180. So what are we getting there? So we have 180, okay, 180 there, minus, so there you need to add, you have 70 plus 55, right? So when you add that one, it will give you 125. So okay, let's show it here. So you have 125, okay, degrees. Now 125, subtracting that from 180, that will just give you 55. Okay, that will give you 55 degrees. All right. Okay, you can confirm that. Okay, just confirm if that's true. Okay, now there was one property that we did not talk about, and I would like to mention it here. Okay, under the other properties that we haven't talked about, but they are there in the material in the group. Okay, you can go through. Now look at this one. Okay, look at this one. Try to add 55, okay, which you have there, plus 55. So that 55 is for this C, the value of C, and this 55 here. Okay, when you add, I want you to see something here. You are getting what? 110. Okay, you are getting 110, not 180. Okay, that's 110. Now look at where 110 is. Okay, before that, let's also look at add 70. That's 70 you have. Okay, plus C, the value of C, which is 55. Okay, what are you getting? You are getting 125, isn't it? 125. Okay, you're getting 125. So what can you say about the two opposite interior angles of this exterior angle, which is 125? Okay, reason it in that way. So two opposite interior angles of a triangle gives you the exterior angle. Okay, similarly, the exterior angle here of a triangle at this point, adding angle C, the size of angle C, and this one, which was 55 plus 55, gives you this exterior angle there. Okay, so this is another property that you can use to answer questions on a triangle. All right. Okay, if any question, you can let me know. Okay, now let's look at this one. We need also to apply some properties here. So we need to find the value of x, x, z, x, y, and z. Okay, we start with x. You can start with anything. You can start with x, and there are so many ways that you can use to calculate for x here. we know that 120 and x, they are lying on a straight line, right? Okay, so following the properties of angles on a straight line, the total should be 180. Okay, so since we've been given 120, we need x. We know that if we add this angle x, which is unknown, with 120, okay, we should get 180 in total. Okay, 180 degrees. That means the value of x is just going to be 180 minus that's 120, isn't it? So we're just getting that's 60 degrees. Okay, so that is the value of x. But what about the value of y? So the value of y, just applying the properties there, we see that x and y, in the previous video, so we saw that these are what we call interior alternative angles. Okay, so these are alternating angles, x and y, and they are equal. So y is nothing but 60. Y, they are alternate angles, interior alternate angles. Okay, all right. Okay, that's it. So that's the reason. Now let's look at z. Z also we reason the same one. Look at z and angle 120. They are also interior alternate angles. Okay, so angle z is nothing but 120 degrees is its size. All right, the reason why it's 120 is the same one there. All right, okay, so let's look at this one now. That is example. So this was diagram B, this was diagram C, okay, and this was supposed to be diagram A. Okay, all right, so let's finish up here. So what we have is we need to find the value of A, B, C, D, E. All right, so let's start with the value of A. Okay, so A is the size of angle A is nothing but 44. Why? They are alternate angles, interior alternate angles. Okay, so the reasoning is just the same. So let me just do this here. Okay, let's just write this. So let's say interior. Okay, they are interior. Okay, that's interior alternate angles. They are interior alternate angles. Okay, so that's the reason why. Now let's go to B. How are we going to calculate B? When you look at this point, just this point from here up to there, you see that these two angles are lying on a straight line, and they add up to the total angle is 180 from there up to there. So since we have been given one of the angles, to find B, we know that the total is 180. Alright, so from 180 we are going to subtract 110 to find the remaining one, and that is going to be 70, isn't it? Okay, that will be a 70. That will be the size of that angle. Okay, right, now let's go and find C. Now C, from the diagram you see that B and C are alternate interior angles, right? Yes. So what does that mean? They are equal, right? So the size of angle C is nothing but 70 degrees. Okay. So this is how we apply those properties we discussed in the previous video when solving the size of angles in questions like this. Okay, let's now solve for D. Okay, let me just use this color. We look at D now. Okay, now we need to calculate D. So the size of angle D, look at where D is. Okay, we can either reason in this way, okay, considering that the all of this is 180. Okay, so to find D, we are going to add C plus the size of angle D, which we don't have. Okay. Let's do this. No, let's just do this. Okay, so there we have. So we know that if we add D, which we are looking for, and C, the value of C we're just from calculating, which is 70 degrees, okay, plus 44, right? Okay, is giving us D is equal to so adding those two angles, then we need to remember that these angles, when we add, they need to give us 180, isn't it? Yes, degrees. Okay, so when we get that one, we are going to subtract now 180 there. We are going to subtract 140 and 70, that is from 180. Right. Excuse me. Okay, so we are saying 70 plus 44 there, it will give us 114. Okay, now when you get that 114, you subtract it from 180, and that will give you 66. Right? So we are saying we are getting 180 there, okay, minus 114, okay, degrees, and the value of the size of this angle D is going to be 66 degrees. Okay, what are we remaining? Okay, we're remaining with E. Okay, now E, there are other reasonings that you can use there. Let's do it from here. Okay, remember that we can use this one here. A and E, they are lying on the same on a straight line. Okay, so since we have A, to find E we subtract from 180. That will give us an answer of angle 44 and angle E are lying between two parallel lines and on the same side of a transverse line. Okay, so this makes them to be what? Supplementary angles. Okay, and what are the properties of supplementary angles? They add up to 180. Okay, so we can say that one E we have, that one E we have, if we add with 140, I mean 44 degrees, then subtract this should give us 180 degrees. Yeah, so subtracting 44 from 180 will give us the size of angle E, right? So there, the size of angle E, we are going to have, when we subtract 180 minus 44, that will give us 136. That's 136. Okay, degrees. Now let's also prove this. We know that since this angle from here up to there should be equal to angle E, there will be alternate interior angles. if we add D plus C, this should also be able to give us the size of angle E. Okay, now we found E to be 136, so let's try to add what is the size of angle D and C. So angle D and C were 70 and 60, so adding 70, okay, and 66, are we getting 136? I guess we are getting, because there when you add 70 plus 66, that is giving you 136, right? 136. So provided you know all the properties we discussed in the video, then you should not be facing any problem when it comes to solving questions, okay, calculating the size of different angles on parallel lines, on a straight line, inside the triangle, or exterior angles of a triangle. Okay, so now we are ready and we have the basic knowledge we need to start bearings. Okay, so see you in the next video when we'll be looking at bearings. Okay, so make sure you go through this, and if you have a question, please ask.